If I was starting from complete scratch with zero experience, what would I do to get to 10K a month as quick as humanly possible selling voice AI agents to businesses? I'm going to show you exactly that. We're not going to talk about fulfillment in this video because I have a lot of other videos going over that. In this video, we are purely going to talk about three things. One is going to be lead generation. Two is going to be lead qualification. And three is going to be closing, making money. How do we do that as quick as possible? And what would I do if I was to start from completely scratch and I had not made any of the money that I have? Because I've made a little over $500,000 now selling voice AI to businesses. This has been over about the last 12, 13 months. So I'm going to show you, as if I started from complete scratch, exactly what I would do based on what I've learned making this $500,000, so that you can go ahead and implement this as well. Because look, I'm going to try to break this up into about a 30-minute video here, get you as much information about all these processes to close these high ticket deals, so that as soon as you finish this video and you consume all of this, you're good to go to start implementing this and start closing clients. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into this. And so first things first, like I told you, there's these three main sections. And as you can see, we're going pretty in depth here. We're going to be covering quite a bit. So first things first, let's full screen this. Let's get into phase one here, which is lead generation. There's going to be five main things we're covering inside of here. One is defining your target audience. Two is building a magnetic offer. Three is choosing your traffic channels. Four is capturing leads efficiently. And five is set up automated nurturing sequences. And look, all of this plays hand in hand. These all go together. These are all things you're going to want to implement if you do want to be generating leads effectively. And then phase two is going to be qualifying those leads. And phase three is going to be closing them and actually getting that money into your bank. So let's get into it. First is defining your target audience, defining your niche. What kind of businesses do you want to target specifically? So look, there's a few good niches, right? A few. When I say a few, there's a lot. You can really go after any niche, because as you're going to see, phase two is qualifying the leads. As I'm sure you know, every niche, right? Every niche has qualified businesses. They have unqualified businesses and they have qualified businesses. Regardless of the niche you're going after, you want to be talking to the qualified businesses. You don't want to be wasting your time with the unqualified businesses, because they're going to be wasting your time. It's not the best use of your time to be trying to close these guys that are making 2K a month when you're trying to make 5, 10, 15K up front, right? It just doesn't make sense. We want to be going for businesses that are ideally making 500,000 to 10 million a year. Those are the sweet spot. Anything less than 500K a year, that's less than 40K a month. When you consider profit margins, they're just not making enough. Businesses above 10 million, they have the money, but usually their sales cycle is so long because maybe they have a board of directors or just a lot of different levels of executives they have to go through to even make a decision like this. I'm not trying to do that. I'm not trying to spend 3-4 months waiting to close a client, right? It's just not worth it. We've been in that situation where they had to go to the board of directors. The board has a question, they ask us, we answer them, they have to bring that answer to the board, and it's just not the way you want to do it. So under 10 million, above 500K a year. But look, what kind of niche do you want to go after specifically? There's a lot of good ones. Like home services is amazing, real estate's great, marketing agencies, coaches, medical, like med spas, clinics, dentists, doctors, insurance companies, solar. There's so many that you can go after. I like home services a lot. I think home services is great. And I hope this video doesn't get a ton of people going after home services, because there's a lot of great niches. But home services is amazing, right? Because it's usually middle-aged blue-collar men, right, that are in between kind of their 30s and 60s usually, that are running these businesses: roofing, plumbing, electricians, home renovation, landscaping, those types of things. They're usually super chill to talk to, super easy to work with. They're usually not tech people at all, so they don't even want to talk about the tech. They just want you to handle it, which is awesome. They don't have all those little intricate questions about, hey, is it going to do this? Is it going to integrate with this API? Like, they just let you do your thing. And if you close them, they're going to pay you, and they're just going to trust you to do it, which is the best way to go, because by the time you're done this video, you're going to know exactly what to do. So the niche, that's very important. And now kind of other aspects, the company size, right? How many employees? Are they like a 2-man team? Are they a 20-man team? We've worked with both. Depends on what you prefer. How many leads are they getting per day? This is a pretty important one, right? Because it does make a big difference. If they're getting 5 leads a day or 100 leads a day, makes a big difference, right, on what the AI is going to be doing, the volume of calls it's going to be making, all that sort of stuff, right? And so if you're making a percentage off the minutes that the AI is doing, because usually you have to pay a per minute cost for using AI or any voice AI platform, are you making a percentage on that? Because if you are, you want high volume calls going out there. The revenue I spoke about already, 500K to 10 million is a sweet spot. I definitely recommend you take that into account. The profit's more important than the revenue, right? Because the reason 500K to 10 million a year in profit is, or in revenue, is good, because if they're doing 10 million a year in revenue, they're probably doing anywhere from $1 million to maybe 5 million in profit, which would be on the high side for most, brick and mortar businesses. But if it's, they're doing 50K a month, which would be about 600K a year, they might only be profiting like 10K a month. So in that case, 10K up front might be something they don't really want to do, right? So you got to take that into account as well. Now, a really important part is the pain points. The pain points is niche is feeling. This is really important when we get into the lead qualification process and especially the closing, because you're going to want to really push on these pain points to show them that, hey, this is what you're feeling right now. This is how we can solve it with the AI. There's a few main ones, right? Speed to lead. Speed to lead's huge, right? The business is running ads, like for example, we run ads. We generate leads from the ads. When a lead comes through, you want to call them as soon as humanly possible, because there was a statistic where 78% of leads work with the business that reaches out to them first. That's a stat we leverage in our VSL because of how important it is, right? And most leads, if they're opting into a business's ad, they're probably opting into the competitor's ad as well. Now it's just a matter of who gets to them first. If you have the AI, you're getting to them first. You're getting to them the second they come through. And so speed to lead is huge. Missed calls, right? This is a big one for home service companies, right? Because a lot of the home service companies we've worked with, even though if they're pretty big, like 7-figure companies or even 8-figure companies, usually the owner is out doing jobs as well. And he's got his phone on his hip and he's getting dialed all freaking day, because for whatever reason, these home service companies, they always like to set up their Google business number to be their personal cell phone. So they're getting hammered with dials all day while they're working a job. They can't answer the phone. So if you can have an AI answer those calls, book in the inspections, book in the appointments, whatever it is that they need specifically, that's huge. Slow sales process. This is a big one as well. Let's say there's a lot of maybe touch points that you need to have with the business as they're going through your sales process. You can have the AI just fulfill for those on autopilot, trigger the AI to call leads at certain points or when you move them in certain sections of the pipeline, all that sort of stuff, automate it. Bad lead follow-up system. This is pretty self-explanatory, right? You have leads come through. Let's say you have 100 leads come through one day. That person, whoever's calling, if it's a human, is going to have to call those 100 leads. Now, the next day, you have 100 new leads. You have to call those 100 new leads, but you also need to follow up with the 100 old leads from yesterday. Or maybe the 98 leads, because let's say you booked 2 of them. Then day 3, now you have 100 new leads, 200 old leads, and so on and so forth as the days keep going by and you keep getting 100 new leads. By day 5, you have 100 new leads and 400 old leads. You're not calling all those. So that's where the AI is huge, because it can call, 1,000 leads in a few minutes, right? So it can handle all of those and continue following up with the leads on autopilot, so you don't even need to worry about it. That's a huge one for businesses. These are all massive. The biggest ones I've seen are this, and then I would say this right after. So all huge, but these are some main components here that you want to keep in mind when you're defining your target audience. Now, when you're building your when you're building your magnetic offer, these are some things you want to keep in mind. What pain points are you addressing? Because based on that is probably going to be your magnetic offer, right? If you're trying to handle speed to lead, you want to have an amazing AI, where is it? Speed to lead, AI appointment setter, because you're calling these leads immediately and trying to book them in. AI lead qualifier, that's part of the slow sales process. AI client onboarding assistant, that's a bit niche. AI customer support agent, that's for the missed calls, right? If somebody's calling in, instead of the human having to answer, the AI answers, handles it all, books them in if it's that, answers questions if they need to, that sort of stuff. And reactivation campaigns, these are huge as well, because let's say you have a list of maybe, 10,000 leads and you want to reactivate them, you plug that list into the AI, boom, calls them all, reactivated it, you'll get, out of 10,000 leads, probably 300, 400 booked appointments right off the bat. And then you can call them all again the next day and get another 100, 200, 300 booked appointments in. So those are huge. And this is what we call your AI infrastructure. This is what we call that main AI infrastructure offer. That's part of that there. Now, choosing your traffic channels. How are we getting these leads, right? Because this is phase 1. This is lead generation. We know what niche we're going after, what our target avatar, our target audience looks like. We have an offer to accommodate the main pain points that niche avatar audience is feeling. How are we reaching out to them? There's a few main ways we can do that, right? There's 3 main ways with any sort of outreach. There's paid ads, there's cold outreach, and there's organic content. They're all great. Ideally, you want to have all of them working kind of in synergy, but you're probably not going to at the beginning. If you're very broke, maybe you don't have any money to spend, which is completely normal. I didn't have money to spend when I first started. You're going to want to do cold outreach. It's not the most fun. It honestly completely fucking sucks. It's not fun at all. You're doing cold outreach, you're doing cold calls, cold emails, cold DMs. It's not fun at all, but it works. after a long time, it works. And so there's cold calls, right? You can use lead scrapers, a power dialer, an AI dialer. So you can use the AI to cold call, which again, saves you a lot of time. Cold emails, again, lead scraper, you're scraping leads off Google Maps, whatever it is. And you're using Instantly, for example, or Go High Level, where you can do large blasts of emails out to people. Another one is cold DMs. So this is a little kind of secret technique here that I used for cold DMs way back. I haven't done cold outreach in like years, but back when I did, when I had no money, this was my strategy. You use a software called, or use a website called Bulk Accounts Buy. I'll search this up for you here. Bulk Accounts Buy, and I'll show you these. Bulk Accounts Buy is like an account or a website where you can buy aged Facebook accounts. They're like $4 a pop. So $42 for 10 accounts. That's what I bought. And then if we come back here, proxy sale, this is where you can connect, where you can buy proxies, proxysale.com. As you can see, it still has my data here because I checked on it not long ago. And so what proxy sale does is you can buy proxies. The reason you're going to want to buy these proxies is to connect to your Facebook accounts, because if you have 10 Facebook accounts, you don't want them all to be under your same IP address, or Facebook's going to ban them all, especially because they're different names, right? They're real Facebook accounts. They have profile pictures, they have activity on them, they have usernames, they're people. And so you need to buy proxies to connect to these Facebook accounts that they each have their own IP address so they don't get banned. But you need to have a software to connect those Facebook accounts, and that is called Hide My Account. It's a very great software, Hide My Account right here. You download the most recent one and you connect them. And so I'm not going to show how to do the connection in here. I have a video inside of our school community on how to do that. I'll link those below if you want to check them out. And if you want to work with us directly to help you build all this stuff, click a link below and you can book a call with us and we'll see how we can. But what this software does is it allows you to connect the proxies to the Facebook accounts and activate the Facebook accounts inside of here. And so that's how you can send, let's say 10 DMs, because that's usually the limit before it cools down. Instead of doing it on one account, you do it across 10. Now you're sending 10 times the volume of DMs. That's what I did to get my first like 6-7 clients in my old SMMA with cold outreach. The biggest thing with cold outreach is this right here. Volume negates luck. Write that down, memorize it, put a poster of it on your wall that says volume negates luck if you're doing cold outreach, because cold outreach sucks. But if you do 1 million cold outreach, you're going to get a client. That's an exaggeration of it, but if you do like 1,000, you'll get, booked appointments, you'll get clients. But a lot of people do, like, I speak to people and they're like, oh my God, I did so much cold outreach and I didn't get a booked appointment. I'm like, how much did you do? And he's like, oh, I did like 75. I'm like, buddy, come on. That's not a lot at all. That takes like 2 hours to do. When I was doing cold outreach, I literally was sitting there for like 6 to 8 hours a day sending DMs nonstop. That was it. But yeah, so cold outreach is one. Another one is paid ads. Paid ads are amazing. This is our bread and butter, very leveraged, very scalable. You put $1 in, you should ideally be trying to get at least $2 out. If you can get more, amazing. We typically get anywhere from kind of $4 to $7 out when we put one in, and that's kind of consistent across our partners and clients as well. So there's a few different ways you can go about running these ads. One is the creatives. So there's demos, there's UGC creatives. What UGC creatives are is user-generated content, which, for example, is like ArcAds. What ArcAds is a software to create AI UGC content. So as you can see, this is a person here, this is a person here. Those are actually AI people, they're not real. And they can create, you can prompt it to create ad creatives for whatever you want it to be about, right? And so it's pretty cool. It's pretty expensive if you don't have the money. It's like $120 a month. I don't use these personally, but they do well. What we do is demos. We create demo creatives. And what that is a demo of the AI. We do that inside of Veed, a software called Veed.io, Veed.io. You create demos inside of there. You take a call recording from the AI, whether it's with you or a client or whatever. You insert it into Veed, create a little demo creative, and you run that as an ad. And then when it comes to the primary text, the copy, the headlines, all that sort of stuff, use ChatGPT. ChatGPT is amazing nowadays. I don't know what they're feeding this freaking AI, but it is insane what it can come up with nowadays. I remember like a year ago, we asked it to create us copy for our ads, and it'd be okay. It wouldn't be great. They'd give us good outlines, and we'd kind of tweak it. Now ChatGPT spits up copy, and I almost don't even need to edit it. Like it's really freaking good. So you can do that for the copy. Target based on niche. So I'm gonna kind of break down what this looks like here. I'll break down a bit more specifically what that ad structure looks like, as you can see right here in a second. But first, target based on niche. If you're going after roofers, you target roofers. If you're going after SaaS companies, you target SaaS companies. Retargeting setup. Retargeting is amazing. Let's say you have like, you might not retarget at the beginning, you probably won't, but let's say, for example, you have, for us, for example, a school community. We have a school community of almost 11,000 people. If we want to run retargeting ads, we're retargeting our school community. What that means is we export the list of all the members of our school community, all 11,000, and we create a custom audience inside of Facebook of that audience. And then what we do is we target that audience. So the ads will be getting shown to those 11,000 people. The reason that's so good, the reason retargeting is so powerful, is because these people already engage with us. They already know who we are. They already like us, know us, trust us, ideally, right? As long as you're providing value. And it's much more likely that they will convert because they've already seen us. They've already opted into our school community, all that sort of stuff. You can also run retargeting ads to people who viewed your YouTube videos, to email lists, client lists, all these sorts of things. And so it's very, very good. The biggest thing is you want to optimize for cost per qualified booked appointment. When you're running ads, the only metric that matters is cost per qualified booked appointment. Everything else is cool and it's good to optimize it, but if all the other numbers are good, but your cost per qualified booked appointment sucks, it doesn't matter that those numbers are good. And if your cost per qualified booked appointment is amazing, but all your other numbers suck, they don't actually suck because you're getting an amazing cost per qualified booked appointment. Now, the other way to acquire clients is organic content. Like this YouTube video, we will probably get bookings from this YouTube video. My business partner, Nick, his YouTube channel gets bookings from his YouTube videos. Short form, IG Reels, TikTok. We get bookings from my Instagram Reels. We get bookings from my TikTok. We get bookings from long form videos like this one, YouTube on my account, on Nick's account. Short form should be designed to send people to your long form. On my short form videos, for example, I use ManyChat. What ManyChat does is those people that you see that are like comment long form and I'll send you over this. People comment it and ManyChat is what sends you that. It's an automation that triggers to send based on comments or story replies or DMs, all that sort of stuff. And it's automated. It sends it to you completely automated. It's amazing software. And what we do is I send people to my YouTube videos where they book. Now, capture leads efficiently. This is what this process looks like, all right? So you want to capture these leads efficiently, and this is what you want this entire lead journey process to look like, from the point the leads opt in to the point they book. First is they click the ad. That takes them to a VSL/opt-in page. They watch the VSL, which is the video sales letter at the top of the funnel. I'll show you what that looks like real quick. So they click the ad, they get brought to a funnel that looks just like this. Then they watch the VSL.
Before you book a call, please watch this,
which is a video like this at the top of the funnel here. Then they watch the VSL, which qualifies them a ton. Then they click the button, which sends them to a qualifying form, which looks like this. We take them to a form where we ask them a qualifying question to gauge where you're at in your company life cycle. What's your current monthly recurring revenue? And this is a qualifying form. And so if they are disqualified, we send them to the disqualification page. If they pick 0 to 10K a month, they're disqualified. We don't want to speak to them, not because we don't like them. They're probably great people, but they're not making enough money for us to work with them. It doesn't make sense. But if they are qualified, which is if they pick any of these other ones, then they get sent to the calendar slot. And so what that looks like is pretty straightforward. Let me take you to the calendar here. And the calendar is just where we're collecting information, more information about their business, what they do, all that sort of stuff, which I'll show you here in a second. I forget exactly what the URL is. I think it might be this. Nope. Okay. Let me show you our other calendar then, because it'll still give you the same idea. And so when it comes to the calendar, it's the exact same as really most calendars you see. If you've booked a call with us, if you booked a call with any business, they're collecting your information. They want to know more about you. They want to know how much you can invest, all that sort of stuff. So this is actually the calendar for the partner program. I honestly don't even remember the URL for end user booking, but I'll show you what these questions look like. Name, email, phone number, pretty explanatory. Website link, pretty self-explanatory. Are you looking to start an AI agency? So if anybody from this video books a call, this is what you'll see pretty much. And so all of this, why should you become an Insight partner? For your end user questions, you want to be asking questions more so, what does your business do? Explain it like you're a 6th grader. What is it you want the AI to solve? You want to ask, how much do you have to invest? Have you watched the pre-call video? Do you honor your time to show up? You want to keep those questions there. And now, the final thing, after they book, they will book their time, and then they will get sent to a thank you page. This is what the thank you page looks like. And this is huge for the show up rate.
confident when I
Huge for the show up rate, because them booking a call is amazing, but if they don't show up, it's useless. So you want to make sure that you're doing this properly. So first thing we say, do these 3 steps. 1, watch this 93-second video. 2, confirm your time slot. You want them to confirm their time slot. Show up rate goes up drastically when they do. And we have our VSL down here again for them to watch. That's the thank you page. Then they get a confirmation email, a confirmation SMS, an immediate call from a triager to confirm their information, further qualify them, and then submit a pre-call info form, which gives our closer a rating from 1 to 4 on how qualified that prospect is. If they're a 1, the triager cancels them. If they're a 2, 3, or 4, the closer takes the call and tries to close them. Now, what does the ad process look like? This is what the ad process looks like. I'm going to try to speed up a little bit because we're already like 20 minutes in here. So let's keep this going. When you're running your ads, let's say, for example, we're targeting home service. Let's say we don't know which home service company that we necessarily want to target, for example. Let's say we're kind of deciding between roofers, let's say plumbers, and let's say home renovation. So the way we want to set this up to test which interest is better, right? Whenever you're testing variables, you want all the other variables to be the exact same so that you know that you can actually attribute the success of each individual ad set to the interest, which is the variable we're trying to test, right? But ideally, we want to optimize our time so that we can also test the ad creatives and see which ad creative performs better. So inside of this, we want these 5 creatives to be the exact same as these 5 creatives and the exact same as these 5 creatives. We want these primary text, these 3, to be the exact same as these 3 and these 3. Same with the headlines. We want these 3 to be the same as these 3, is the same as these 3. 3 different ad sets targeting different niches or different interests, but everything else, all the other variables inside are the exact same. So this way, let's say after 5 days of testing these ads, we'll be able to see which interest is performing the best. We'll be able to see, based on dynamic creative optimization, which is a feature inside of Facebook that you can turn on. You don't have to do anything extra. You turn on a toggle, that's it. And Facebook will be able to tell you which ad set is in, or which creative is individually performing the best, which primary text is performing the best, and which headline is performing the best. And so inside of there, it's able to tell you because it will be mix and matching, seeing what performs the best. And then at the end, we can set up our winning ad set. And so the way this works, let's say home renovation was the winner, right? Let's say after 5 days, home renovation was the winning ad set. It performed the best. So then we will target home renovation. We'll relaunch a new ad set. So let's say we were spending $50 a day on these other ad sets. We're going to take our winner, which was home renovation. We're going to set up a new campaign at, let's say, $150 a day. And we're going to launch the winning campaign. That's the whole point of testing. So let's say out of these 5 creatives we were testing, let's say creative 2 was the winner. So we'll take creative 2 and we'll add it into our new campaign. Let's say primary text 3 was the winner. So we take it and we add it to this campaign. And then let's say headline 3 was the winner as well. We'll take that and we'll add it into the new campaign. And then the CTA, we always want the call to action to be learn more. Now, this is our winning campaign. From all the testing we did, home renovation was the winner, ad creative 2 was the winner, primary text 3 was the winner, headline 3 was the winner, and call to action we always keep is learn more. So we take this campaign, we relaunch it at $150 a day, and we'll go ahead and we'll turn off these other 2 ones, which were our losers. And now, let's say our budget was $200 a day. We'll use $150 on this new winning campaign, and we'll use the other $50 to continue doing tests like this. That's how you test ads. And so I hope that made sense for you guys. If it didn't, let me know. I can make a full separate video breaking this down. Just let me know. But I don't want to spend too long on that in this video. And then setting up automated nurturing sequences, email and SMS sequences, retargeting ads, AI calls, follow-up triggers, right? That's pretty self-explanatory. Sending them emails, sending them texts, retargeting, which I already mentioned, AI calls, which are self-explanatory, and triage follow-ups, which are pretty self-explanatory. It's just a human calling versus an AI. So pretty self-explanatory. Let's speed this up a bit. This is on pace to be like an hour-long video. So let's hurry up. So phase 1 is complete. That's lead generation. Hope you guys are all clear. You guys all clear on that? Comment down below. Say I'm clear on phase 1 lead generation. Now let's move over to phase 2 lead qualification. Now we generated leads. We need to make sure that they are qualified because it's useless to have bookings. It's useless to have leads that are not qualified. So there's a few ways we do this. Pre-qualification, which is with short applications like that form I showed you with the questions on revenue to filter them out. Qualification forms, which are like that, also on the calendar booking form where we ask them questions where we can tell if they're qualified or not. The second thing is triage calls, which is what I mentioned right after they book. A human calls them, goes through a script asking about their current situation, their biggest pain point, financially qualifying them, making sure they have the money, time qualification, making sure they're looking to start soon, decision makers qualification, making sure all decision makers are going to be on the call. And then they submit a sales report form. So this is what that looks like. This pings the closer inside of our Discord, confirmation call info, the prospect's name, when their call is, their main pain points, their main desires, their general info, additional info. Are they financially qualified? When do they want to move forward? Will all decision makers be on the call? And then a rating 1 to 4. See, this guy got rated 3. So it's a pretty qualified call. All right, just had to make sure my mic was still on there. All right. Now, the BANT framework. This is what we want to find qualifications on, right? And it's the same as what I just showed here in the sales report form. These main 4 things. BANT, budget, do they have the finances? Authority, are all decision makers going to be on the call? Need, do they actually need this? Or because if you're targeting roofers, a cleaning company they're not going to need what you're offering, right? And so do they actually need what you're offering? And timing, are they looking to implement it now? I don't care about getting on a call with somebody who's looking to implement this in a year, 6 months, 3 months. If they want to implement it now, awesome, right? That's more qualified. And so ideally, the most qualified person has an unlimited budget. All decision makers are going to be on the call. The need exactly aligns with what you're selling, and they wanted to implement it yesterday. That's the ideal client, right? In terms of the BANT framework. Now, disqualify and qualify. Based on everything we just went through there, you either disqualify or qualify the prospect, not qualify. You qualify or disqualify the prospect based on all of that stuff, which either means canceling the call or letting the call continue. So that is phase 2 lead qualification. Now we've done the lead generation, we've done the lead qualification. Let's get into the closing and let's actually collect this damn cash, right? We did all that stuff. You put in all the work setting up the lead generation and the lead qualification systems. Now let's close these deals and actually convert them into paying clients. So the sales process, ideally a 1-call close. You want to show up with a full triage report. That's the sales report form I showed you. You know what they're rated out of 1 to 4. You know their financial qualification, decision makers, the BANT framework, right? Budget, authority, need, and timing. They meet all of those. Authority positioning. When you get on the call, you want to position yourself as the authority. You don't want to be timid. You don't want to be nervous. You want to show them that you know what you're doing. You talk with confidence and conviction about what you are showing them. Rapport. Very quickly, when you build rapport with them, rapport is very straightforward. You don't want to take too long, maybe a minute or two. Like when I hopped on call with a guy today, he was a very, very nice guy. And I saw his profile picture. He had a chocolate lab. I have a chocolate lab. So I said, oh, hey, was that a chocolate lab on your profile picture? He was like, oh yeah, it was. She's right here. And he was showing me on his computer that the chocolate lab was right there. I was like, oh, how old? Little rapport. He's like a 2-year-old lab. I was like, oh, 2 years old. Mine just turned 13 because I have an old dog. And so we talked about that. That starts the call off on an amazing foot. We're laughing a bit about it. We're joking about our dogs. We have a thing that we can connect on right off the bat. That sets you up for an amazing call versus if you just go right into asking them about their business, right? Because then it's not a human interaction, right? Like I still want to get to know this guy. I want to know how he is as a person because I'm going to be working with him. And so that's how you build a little bit of rapport. Discovery. Discovery is very important. This is arguably the most important part of the call, or it is the most important part of the call. You are discovering everything about their business. Why did they even book this call? Why did they book it now versus a month ago? What's the problem they're facing that got them to book this call? What are they looking to use the AI for? Why are they looking to use the AI to do that? What's this problem causing inside of the business? What's this problem causing outside of the business in their personal life? What is solving this problem going to do in terms of changing their business? What is this problem being solved going to do to change their personal lives? What is the output that the AI is going to do inside of their business? Is it more appointments? Is it saving their time? What is it going to be doing for them? Why do they want to get to this point? And then showing them eventually that the AI can bridge the gap between their pain and their desire, which you do in the pitch. The pitch is breaking down. Now that you know what they need, you know why they're on here, and you know what their problem is, the pitch is showing them how you can solve their problem with what you're offering, in this case, the voice AI. Then after the pitch, they might have some objections. They might say, hey, I want to think about this, which is a smoke screen. They might have questions about things, whatever it is. They might have objections. I need to talk to my wife. I need to take a week to think about this, whatever it may be. You handle those objections, then you close the deal. You collect payment, you submit the sales report form, and then you hand over the client to the CSM for onboarding. This is what it looks like when you submit the sales report form. As soon as you close a client, this is what we do. You close the client. This pings our Insight AI CSM because now you've seen, right? The lead generates. First, it starts with a triager, right? The triager gets as much information, submits a form. The form submission is always the handoff. The triage, the confirmation call report, that form is the handoff of the lead from the triager to the closer. When the closer closes the client, he submits the sales report form, which is now the handoff of the lead from, or now the client, from the closer to the CSM, the client success manager. And this is the info: closer name, the client name, the client email, and then make sure to give them their welcome call in 60 minutes. We always want to give them a call after they closed, because when we can give them a call right after they close, it's just their CSM saying, hey, welcome to Inside AI. We can't wait to work with you, yada, yada, yada. I'm the client success manager. I'm going to be the one onboarding you, et cetera, et cetera. It makes a great first impression, really, really limits buyer's remorse, which you don't want people to get. You don't want them to pay you and then a day later be like, hey, I want a refund. You want to make it a good experience. You don't want a refund to even cross their mind from the point they close to the point they have their onboarding call. So it's very, very important. And then they get all this information. How was the close? Was it difficult? Where did they find out about us? How much did they pay? How much did they contract for? All that sort of stuff. Now, the next thing we want to talk about is the actual discovery phase, which I already went into quite a bit, right? Why did they book this call in the first place? What got them into looking into AI for their business? How long have they been looking into AI for their business? What's the problem they're looking to solve? How long have they been experiencing this problem? What got you to take action on implementing AI now instead of when the problem first came up? How is this problem affecting your business? How is this problem affecting you outside of your business and your personal life? What would the business look like if this problem were solved? What would your life look like if this problem was solved? And then bridging the gap between their current pain, their ideal outcome, and showing them that the AI can get them there. Now, the pitch. The pitch is bridging the gap between their current problem and the solution. Show them the AI can solve the problem. Show them what things will look like when they do solve the problem with this AI. Walk through the implementation process for their specific build. Show them what it's going to look like. Lay out the timelines. Set proper expectations on timeline and deliverables. Let them know, okay, this is a pretty complex build. This is going to take probably 10 days for us to build, integrate, test the crap out of, let you test it, make sure you approve of it, and then we can roll it out. You want to set the expectations. It is much, much better. If you think it's going to take a week, tell them it's going to take 10 days. If you think it's going to take 10 days, tell them it's going to take 2 weeks. Much, much better to overpromise, or much, much better to underpromise and overdeliver than overpromise and underdeliver always, right? Now, objection handling, right? This is the part of the sales call where most people fumble. Usually you want to have everything set up, your whole process, your lead qualification, your discovery, your pitch, so that you don't have to deal with objection handling, because in a perfect world, they just close, right? Like, you just don't want to have objections. So, but you will have objections, right? It's inevitable. So there's a few things you want to follow. NLP is the biggest thing, neuro-linguistic programming. This is a psychological way to handle objections to close people. And so there's a few main things inside of here: mirroring, clarifying beliefs, reframing, future pacing, and anchoring positive states. These are all part of NLP. So why do you do mirroring? Mirroring is to make people feel safe and understood when you mirror their concerns. And so how do you do it? You repeat the keywords they use to validate their experience. Clarifying beliefs. Why do you do it? Objections usually mask a deeper limiting belief. For example, I'm not sure I can succeed, rather than your offer is bad, right? And so that's a good example. You might see that a decent bit. And so how do you do it? Ask precision questions to uncover the belief underneath. And so things along the lines of, let's say they say, I don't have the money, or this is a lot of money. Now you got to ask a question to uncover if it's really a logistical thing that they genuinely don't have the money, or is it because they don't see the value and they do have the money, but they just don't see the value in it being worth it, right? Now, reframing. Why do you reframe? Problems are problems because of the frame they're seen through. This is a big one. How do you do it? You shift their perspective without invalidating their feelings. You never want to invalidate their feelings. Make them feel validated and then reframe how they're viewing things. And so, for example, let's say you're speaking to a client and they're like, yeah, this is really expensive, man. And instead of you kind of going against them, like, no, it's not. What are you talking about? You're saying, yeah, it is pretty expensive, but do you think it's more expensive to keep doing what you're doing and continue paying your 3 setters $2,000 a month for the volume of appointments you're getting? Or do you think it's more expensive to pay $10K one time and then be paying $500 a month to 3 extra booked appointments? Which one do you think is really more expensive in that case? You're reframing their perspective of what they thought was expensive, right? And so that's a little example of that. Now, future pacing. Future pacing is also a great one. Why? People make decisions based on how they imagine future emotions. How? Guide them into visualizing success vividly. How would you feel if, let's say, you did implement this and in 6 months now, you got all your time back, you're no longer on the phones dialing, the 5 hours you said you're spending cold calling every day, you got that back, you were able to leave work on time and go spend time with your newborn son and your wife. How would that make you feel if you actually put in the work, invested in your business, and got to the point where that was your reality? Now they're like feeling it themselves internally of what it would be like to live that situation. And that's future pacing. Now, anchoring positive states. Why do you do this? Emotional states drive buying decisions more than logic, and they always will. Humans are emotional creatures, no matter what way you look at it. How? Bring them back into a peak emotional state from earlier in the conversation. And so, when you can put all of these together, which does take practice, you're not going to be able to just watch this video and be able to put all these together. But when you can put all these together on a sales call, that's when you can really handle any objection and they won't faze you at all. Now, final step, close the deal, collect payment, trigger the onboarding process, hand over the client to the client success manager / your engineer for fulfillment. So guys, I know that was a lot here, right? That was quite a bit. Take a deep breath. We went through a lot here. How to close the deal, how to qualify the lead, and how to generate the lead. This was a lot of stuff here, but if I were to start over from scratch, never have generated the $500,000 that I have selling AI online, if I were to start from completely zero, only thing I have is the knowledge that I've gained. This is exactly what I would follow. This is the exact process I would implement to start closing 10K deals within the next few weeks.